The first bombs fell in the summer of 1988. It was a baptism by nuclear fire. By December, they had blacked out the sun with endless rain. We decided to stop keeping time, and it's been 1988 ever since. We're not sad. We had it coming.
How you doing, everyone? Juan Romero here with my Black Future 88 review. Now, I'm a sucker for games like this. We have synth music, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but hell yes to that already. Awesome visuals, which are right up my street. But this is yet another procedurally generated roguelike. And well, if you've played games like Binding of Isaac or Enter the Gungeon, then this is probably going to be right up your street. However, with the games like Children of Morta just having hit the Nintendo Switch, which is a roguelite, those games for me just have that little bit more depth. But let's just find out whether this one is worth your hard-earned cash. Let's get into it. Well, after that lovely introduction, you've already had a snippet of the story. Yes, we're stuck in 1988, and who doesn't want to be stuck in 1988 with all that wonderful music? Can't say too much about the style they had in those days, but nevertheless, in terms of what you've got to do, you've got 18 minutes to climb the tower, kill this nutcase Duncan who's been dropping these bombs and causing endless rain and floods, killing almost everybody. And so, for you to be the hero, you choose a character from the beginning, and that's your goal. Here we have a 2D roguelike action shooter. Think back to those heady days when Contra was actually a great game. If you've played Binding of Isaac also, again it's slightly different, but it follows in much the same vein. And playing the game using both analog sticks is fantastic because it plays as a twin stick shooter. Here you pick a character in which at the beginning there are two to choose from, each with differing advantages and disadvantages. You will unlock more having played the game a little more, but my favourite was definitely Runnels, as she has a slowdown ability. Others, for example, Surgist starts with higher ammo and a sword, so is more of a melee player, if you will. I certainly preferred attacking enemies from further away, but each to their own, and you'll have a character that suits your playstyle, no doubt. Each character with a couple of weapons equipped, and these can be swapped in your run on the fly for something better also if it drops. Now you can have two weapons equipped but only use one at a time, and you can swap those if need be. There are also all sorts of shotguns with short ranges, missile launchers and lasers too, and you'll need to have decent drops or you end up failing pretty early on, so it pays to explore other rooms instead of going straight for those bosses. However, you do run the risk of running out of time, as you only have, of course, 18 minutes, although there are some time extenders if you're lucky. There's no upgrading a hub here. Once you die, you have to start again, but on the next run, if you've unlocked some of the buffs and weapons, they'll be available to possibly drop. But that's all you get here. Some of you will be fine with that, and others will find it rather repetitive too quickly, and unfortunately, I found the gameplay fun, but having to do the same thing over and over again felt a little bit like a chore after a while. Yes, the levels are procedurally generated, but they don't feel different enough for me, and the pattern felt too similar each time. Feels like a quick pick up and play game, which is fine if that's what you want, but there's not quite the depth that I wanted for the price being asked for this game. Overall, there are 50 weapons though, and these are majorly cool and have extreme killing power. Of course, these will not all be available in your first few hours or your first few runs. You have to keep playing and dying to level up and unlocking each one so that you have the chance that they'll drop in that next run. That's the name of the game here. Keep playing so you can have the potential to get those better weapons and buffs. And there's also curses here, in which there are 30. You need to strategically evolve your character to get as far as possible within your run, and to do this you will require to select the right combinations of buffs and curses. So there will be a lot of trial and error and frustration. Each character has a dash move, which is majorly important as it can be used to dodge bullets, and if you get the right buffs it can even be used to go through platforms. The enemies here are a mixture of hovering robots spewing out multiple colourful bullet hell style, and each has differing patterns that you need to be aware of. There are some other types of enemies like humans trying to shoot you to shit, but as you progress there are more enemies on screen to take care of, making things quite tough to avoid everything. Now each run is random, but the first two bosses and areas are easy enough. Once you reach zone 3 though, things really kick up a notch, and I think for me personally the difficulty ramped up way too much from section 2 to section 3. I was literally dead within a few seconds of reaching the third zone, and once this happens a few times the frustration really builds up until the point where, until that point it's a really good time, but it did make me more determined to unlock more, and then it becomes a tad easier to get through. It's not an easy game, it is very challenging, so if you die over and over again, don't worry. This is the game's design, it's meant to be this way, but some of you may not be accustomed to it. There are 5 zones in total, each is guarded by a random boss, and some of these battles turn into some crazy bullet hell fights, which I have to admit I enjoyed a lot. There's a daily challenge also, which is the online leaderboard, which is a nice touch to break things up. And also there is local co-op with no online co-op unfortunately, and it's really great playing with a friend. The music here and backing tracks include analog synth soundtrack, which I absolutely love. It fits so well with this dystopian world and the wonderful visuals, which I'll talk about in a second. It's upbeat and just makes you want to keep playing. The sound effects are also pretty sweet. Take a listen and leave me a comment down below letting me know what you think. If you've played games like Enter the Gungeon, it reminds me a lot of that in terms of the bullet patterns at times. Of course, I know this is a 2D platformer and that was top-down view, but still, this uses a colour that I always find really appealing. Purples, pinks, oranges, yellows and blacks to really make the visuals pop on screen. Then you have fantastic lighting incorporated into the game to really make things stand out. I love the style, it suits this type of indie game absolutely perfectly. I didn't run into any issues either in docked mode or in handheld in terms of its performance or any slowdown. In terms of value, the game's $17.99 in the UK, $19.99 in the US and $19.99 in the EU. There is value to be had, of course, with roguelikes because you'll no doubt want to keep playing over and over again, more and more runs until you reach the top of that tower, and to get there you're going to have to put in multiple hours to unlock enough firepower, buffs and curses, but once you do that it is rather a short game. There is a daily run and a leaderboard which may keep you coming back for more, and if you've got a friend to play local co-op with then it's going to extend your playtime and you're both going to have a good time. My verdict on Black Future 88 is, well, it has a lot going for it. It has a cool style, great music and gameplay which has a nice loop full of action. But where this falls down for me personally is having that something to keep you hooked for a longer period of time. There's not enough variation to keep the game from getting repetitive rather quickly after that initial wow factor wears off. This is a roguelike, yes, but I can't help thinking this would have been better off as a roguelite, like Children of Mortar, where dying ultimately feels more rewarding. Still a fun time and a solid 7.5 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, ladies and gentlemen, please hit that like button and leave us a comment down below letting us know what you think of this game, whether you're going to purchase it or any other game for that matter. We love just chatting to you, ladies and gentlemen, about games. And if you're new here and you're still watching this video, thank you very much, but don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification. We want to alert you when our new videos go live. For a greater selection, I'm going to put our bargains video up that James loves making on a weekly basis every Sunday. Jordan's physical video letting you know when all those physical lovely games are coming out on a weekly basis again every Monday, and I'll also put up a review of Children of Mortar, so you can view that if you like. My name's Juan Romero from SwitchWatch. I'll see you again on the next one. Take care.